Welcome back, friends. Welcome back to the Homestead. We're thrilled to announce that our passive solar greenhouse project is finally complete. Right back at the start, over a year ago, I made a video that laid out the benchmarks or rules that I wanted to work to and judge outcomes by. And one of those rules that the build had to be was affordable. I made a comparison between buying a ready-to-go traditional greenhouse, much like we've already got here, which would cost around €1,000 to buy. So in this video, in order to be transparent, we're going to break down the costs of each component so you can get a clear idea of how much it cost. Some things we already had here and so didn't need to buy, but I'll price those as well and offer any suitable options, and then you can decide if it was worth it financially. Let's get started. First of all, do remember that all the labour on this project was us. There was no hired help, no contractors, not a single cent was spent on labour costs. Just our own sweat, blood and tears. This obviously saves a lot of money, and if you're considering such a project, you'll need to factor in that too. If you can't self-build, that is. Okay, first up, we have the timber, or lumber, depending on what part of the world you're from. That's what we use for the frame. This is the skeleton of our greenhouse, and as such, it's crucial to invest in quality timber that's going to withstand the rigour and the test of time. As I mentioned in the build video, I decided to use upright posts made out of trees from our own forest. Now, if I had needed to buy those posts, usually 10 centimeters square and pressure treated, they would have cost us around €160. For the wall plates, 95 by 45 or 2 by 4, and the trusses, 120 by 45 or 2 by 5, I went for C24 grade timber. Then for the purlins and the base rim, which were 50 by 25 and 50 by 50 respectively, and were pressure treated rough sawn timber. The total cost for all this timber was €265, not including what I saved with those posts. Next, we have the panels for the front, rear and side walls. These boards provide the structure and support for our greenhouse, making the frame stiff so it can't twist. I used 15mm OSB panels for this, and some people were doubtful that this was a good choice, but they seem to have done okay so far, but ultimately only time will tell, of course. We used 14 boards in total, making the total cost €242. Moving on to the glazing. This, of course, is what allows the sunlight to enter and warm up the greenhouse. I chose 6mm polycarbonate, which came in two 6-metre sheets. And then there were the end and jointing strips as well. Also, there was the specialist fixing screws. To deal with the rainwater, I installed a guttering system on the front and rear sections. Whilst an additional expense, it's really important to get the water away from the base in order to extend the life of the greenhouse. In addition, of course, we can store this water for use inside. The total cost for the glazing and guttering was €442. Up next is the roof. A good roof is essential to protect your plants from harsh weather conditions, and in our case, it needs to spread the load of the snow in winter. Whilst there is a choice of metal or cement fibre sheets, fortunately, we already had some cement fibre sheets left over from the main house roof project, and so by using them, not only do we have matching roofs, we also saved €140. However, there were still the metal sidings and the ridge cap sections which we needed to buy, and they cost €60. Let's talk about insulation. Proper insulation helps maintain the temperature inside the greenhouse by keeping that warm air in at night, preventing a frost situation. I used 100mm thick sheets of rock wool, which were then strapped in and covered using ground mulch cover sheet. I used 12 bags, and the total cost for the insulation was €228. Now, let's discuss the electrics to power the ventilation and windows. This is kind of optional because you can vent it naturally and you could open the windows yourself, but it's been a core part of the project, and so I wanted to include the basics as part of the costs. The total cost for the solar panel, charge controller, cables and clamps, fan, window actuators and a 12-volt battery was €396. Now I know I have the fancy automation control box that I built, but you could simply control this with 2 digital controllers that cost €10 each. I already had the timber for the solar panel mount, so that's included. Finally, we have the extras. These include the waterproofing paint, finishing paint, consumables, screws, nuts, bolts, hinges, etc., which came to €196. And there you have it. That's the full cost breakdown for our passive solar greenhouse project. Are you surprised by the costs? Do you think it would have been higher or lower? Or it's about right? Let me know in the comments. I hope this gives you a better understanding of the costs that were involved in building our passive solar greenhouse. If you have any questions or comments, please do leave them below in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching our video, and I hope you found it of interest. If you did, then there are plenty of our other videos on our channel which I'm sure you'll find equally interesting. If you're not subscribed, don't forget to give us a subscribe and follow us for the journey. That's all for now, and I look forward to seeing you in another video very soon. Bye for now.